Hey there. If you're watching this, you might be thinking about something we don't talk about nearly enough: how to stay safe behind the wheel as we get older. Maybe you've noticed little changes lately: a flicker of hesitation when merging onto the highway, a moment where your eyes didn't adjust quite as quickly to oncoming headlights, or maybe someone you care about has gently suggested you slow down a bit. Whatever brought you here, I want you to know this: you're not alone. And you don't have to give up your freedom. Driving is about more than just getting from point A to B. It's about independence, confidence, and staying connected to the life you've built. Today, we're diving into 8 practical, easy-to-follow rules that'll help you drive safely well into your 80s and beyond. No lectures, no scare tactics, just real talk and strategies you can start using tomorrow. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you gave your car a once-over before hitting the road? Not just a glance under the hood, but a proper check. You'd be surprised how many of us skip the basics, like tire pressure, windshield wiper fluid, or even adjusting our mirrors. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a mechanic overnight, but think of your car like your body. If you don't take care of it, it's going to let you down when you need it most. A few years ago, my neighbor Margaret, a sharp, active woman in her mid-80s, got into a minor fender bender because her brakes were wearing thin. She hadn't noticed the squeaking over time, and by the time she did, it was too late. The good news? A quick trip to the mechanic could have prevented it. So here's rule number 1. Treat your car like your health. Regular checkups are non-negotiable. Set a reminder every few months to inspect those tires, fluids, and lights. And don't skip the brakes. Your safety, and everyone else's, depends on it. Now, let's talk about you, the driver. You know your body better than anyone. But here's the thing: our reflexes, vision, and even our ability to multitask behind the wheel change as we age. That doesn't mean you have to hang up your keys, but it does mean being honest with yourself. Rule number 2 is about prioritizing your physical well-being. If your vision isn't what it used to be, schedule an eye exam. Glare from oncoming headlights at night can be a real issue, and updating your prescription might make all the difference. Same goes for hearing. If you're struggling to hear sirens or horns, a hearing aid could be a game changer. And what about those stiff joints or medications that leave you drowsy? Talk to your doctor. They can help you adjust your routine so you're alert and comfortable when you drive. Think of this as fine-tuning your engine. Just like you'd service your car, you've got to service yourself. Here's another truth we don't talk about enough: our driving habits need to evolve. Rule number 3: adapt to the roads and the times. Traffic patterns, technology, even road signs change, and it's easy to feel out of sync if you're not paying attention. Let me share a story. A friend of mine, Tom, hadn't driven in a few years after retiring. When he got back behind the wheel, he was stunned by how many new traffic signals and GPS-based directions there were. He felt overwhelmed, which led to a few close calls. The solution? He started taking shorter drives during off-peak hours and practiced navigating with a co-pilot until he felt confident. Don't be afraid to ease back in or adjust your routine. Avoid rush hour if it stresses you out. Stick to familiar routes until you're comfortable branching out. And if you're not sure about something, a new highway exit, a confusing intersection, roll down the window and ask for help. There's no shame in that. Now, I want you to picture this. You're pulling into your driveway after a smooth, stress-free drive. No tension in your shoulders, no white-knuckling the steering wheel. Just that quiet pride of knowing you handled it all with grace. That's the goal here. These first 3 rules, maintaining your car, prioritizing your health, and adapting your habits, are about building a foundation. But we're just getting started. There's so much more to cover. Like how to handle emergencies, why your seating position matters more than you think, and the surprising ways technology can work for you, not against you. Ready to dive deeper? Let's keep going. Because staying safe on the road isn't just about the rules you follow. It's about the mindset you bring. And that's exactly what we'll tackle next. All right, let's pick up where we left off. You've got your car in good shape, you're taking care of your body, and you're adjusting your habits. Now, here's something most of us overlook: how we sit in the driver's seat. Sounds simple, right? But how you position yourself behind the wheel can make a huge difference in your control Comfort and safety. Let me explain. A few years ago, I met a retired teacher named Helen who'd been in 2 minor accidents in 6 months. She couldn't figure out why until her driving instructor pointed out she'd been slouching to ease her back pain, which meant she couldn't react quickly. Once she adjusted her seat to support her posture and moved the steering wheel to a 10 and 2 position, everything changed. That's rule number 4. Find your sweet spot for visibility then control. Sit upright with your back against the seat, arms slightly bent when holding the wheel, and feet comfortably reaching the pedals. If you're short, use a cushion to see over the dashboard. If your neck aches, adjust the headrest so it aligns with the top of your ears. This isn't about comfort alone. It's about giving yourself the best possible view of the road and reacting fast when needed. Now, let's talk about something that might feel intimidating at first but can be a game changer: technology. Rule number 5, embrace tools that work for you, even if they're new to you. I know, the idea of touchscreen dashboards or voice-activated assistants can feel like learning a foreign language, but hear me out. Think of these tools as your co-pilot. GPS systems aren't just for avoiding traffic. They can reduce stress by guiding you to unfamiliar places without last-minute turns. Backup cameras eliminate blind spots when reversing, and lane keep assist systems gently nudge you back if you drift. A friend of mine, Ed, swore he'd never use a smartphone until his daughter showed him how voice commands could let him call home without taking his hands off the wheel. Suddenly, staying connected felt safe again. The key is to start small. Ask a tech-savvy grandkid to walk you through your car's features, or visit the dealership for a demo. Once you get the hang of it, you'll wonder how you ever drove without these helpers. All right, let's shift gears, literally, to something we hope never happens, but must prepare for: emergencies. Rule number 6 is about planning for the unexpected. Imagine this: you're on a quiet stretch of road when your tire blows, or maybe you're stuck in a downpour and your car starts hydroplaning. Scary scenarios, sure, but panic is the real danger. The solution? A little preparation goes a long way. Keep an emergency kit in your trunk with a flashlight, jumper cables, reflective triangles, and a blanket. Know how to use them. Practice changing a tire or jump-starting your battery before you're stranded. And don't forget your phone. Store a few emergency contacts in your speed dial and keep a portable charger handy. A few years back, a woman named Claire avoided hours on the side of the highway because she'd taken a basic roadside safety course. She calmly turned on her hazard lights, placed her triangle, and called for help while staying warm in her car. Being ready doesn't mean expecting the worst. It means giving yourself peace of mind. Let me ask you this: when's the last time you thought about your driving environment? I'm not just talking about the road ahead, but the space around you, the distractions, the time of day, even the weather. Rule number 7 is a big one. Minimize distractions before you turn the key. We're all guilty of it. Tuning the radio, fiddling with the AC, or chatting with a passenger while merging onto the highway. But as we age, multitasking becomes trickier. A study found that even a quick glance at a text message increases crash risk by 23 times. Now, imagine doing that while your reflexes are slower. The fix? Set your music or climate controls before you drive. Silence your phone or put it in the glove box. And if you're with a friend, agree to keep conversations light until you're parked. A few minutes of focused driving can prevent a lifetime of regrets. Now, let's close this section with a rule that's often overlooked but deeply personal. Know your limits and honor them. That's rule number 8. Driving safely isn't about proving you can do everything. It's about recognizing when to adjust. Maybe night driving feels less comfortable now, so plan daytime trips. If highways overwhelm you, take scenic back roads instead. My Uncle Joe used to love road trips, but after a few close calls at dusk, he decided to stick to local errands and let his kids handle the long hauls. He didn't see it as a loss. It was a way to stay independent without stress. The goal isn't to drive forever. It's to drive happily, confidently, and safely for as long as it feels right. That's a lot to take in, I know, but here's the good news. These rules aren't about drastic changes. They're small, intentional shifts that add up to a safer, smoother ride. From your seat position to your GPS, from emergency kits to knowing when to say no to night driving, each step builds on the last. And guess what? We're not done yet. there's one more piece of the puzzle that ties it all together, something that'll help you stay sharp and resilient behind the wheel. Ready to wrap it up? Let's bring it home. Let's take a breath here. You've made it this far through the checklists, the adjustments, the mindset shifts. And now we're at the heart of it all. Because driving isn't just about rules or routines. It's about how you carry yourself behind the wheel. The confidence to know you're prepared. The peace of mind that comes from taking care of yourself and your car. And the quiet joy of rolling down the window, feeling the breeze, and realizing you're still you. Capable, independent, and in control. That's what this is about. Let me tell you about Margaret, the neighbor I mentioned earlier. After her fender bender, she thought maybe it was time to stop driving altogether. But instead, she took these 8 rules to heart. She started with the basics: regular car maintenance, eye exams, adjusting her seat for better posture. Then she eased into the tech, learning to use her backup camera and voice commands for navigation. She swapped night drives for morning ones, planned her routes ahead of time, and kept an emergency kit in her trunk. And you know what? A year later she told me, "I drive slower, but I feel faster, like I'm finally moving at my own pace." That's the power of small, intentional choices. They don't just keep you safe. They remind you why you love driving in the first place. Now let's talk about something we haven't addressed yet, the emotional side of staying behind the wheel. For many of us, driving is tied to our identity. It's about freedom to visit friends, run errands, or just take a scenic drive without relying on anyone. But with that freedom comes responsibility, not just to ourselves, but to everyone on the road. And here's the beautiful thing. Responsibility doesn't mean giving up. It means evolving. It means acknowledging that the way we drive at 80 might look different than it did at 50. And that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's wise. Think of it like this. When you water a garden, you adapt to the seasons. You don't water as much in the rain or expose delicate plants to harsh sun. You adjust, you nurture, and in doing so, you keep something precious alive. Your driving journey is no different. I want to leave you with one last story. A few years ago, I met a man named Frank at a local coffee shop. He was 87, sharp as a tack, and still drove everywhere. When I asked him his secret, he laughed and said, "I don't fight the road, I listen to it." He explained that he'd slowed down, sure, but he'd also become more aware of his surroundings. He noticed pedestrians earlier, gave drivers more space, and even learned to appreciate the quiet moments between stops. Driving's not a race, he said. It's a conversation. Isn't that beautiful? A conversation. With the road, with your car, with yourself. And when you approach it that way, when you stay curious, adaptable, and kind, it becomes less about proving something and more about enjoying the ride. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing from today's conversation and commit to it this week. Maybe it's checking your tire pressure. Maybe it's adjusting your seat. Or maybe it's simply giving yourself permission to say, "Today I'll take the back roads instead of a highway." Progress isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up for yourself day after day with a little more intention. And if you ever feel overwhelmed, remember Frank, or Margaret, or your neighbor down the street who's still zipping around with a smile. They're proof that age isn't a barrier, it's a teacher. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share your own driving stories or tips. Have you discovered a trick that's made your drive safer or more enjoyable? Let's build a community where we learn from each other. And if you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got more conversations coming your way on everything from staying active to navigating life's little curveballs. Forkits this sunnel. Ichistino. Ichio. As I wrap up today's conversation, I want you to picture something. You, behind the wheel, radio playing your favorite tune. The road ahead isn't about fear or limits. It's about possibility. It's about choosing where you go, how you get there, and who you share it with. So here's to you, the drivers, the adventurers, the ones who know that life doesn't slow down just because the years add up. Keep going, keep thriving, and most of all, keep driving your own story. See you on the road.